Greetings! On behalf of YTM, welcome aboard. Enjoy your flight.
If you love to travel and want to stay in the loop with all the latest tips, reviews, and updates, be sure to hit that subscribe button and don't forget to like and share. We do appreciate the support. And here was our flight for the day, a 2-hour and 50-minute journey from Singapore to Bali on AirAsia's A320-200 in economy class. Now, AirAsia is considered a budget-friendly airline, and we've flown them before. Our last trip was from Cambodia to Thailand. It was a pretty seamless experience, so we thought we'd try them again. And we have a lot of information in this video, so we provided chapter markers so you could jump to whichever section you might need. Now let's talk about booking your flight with AirAsia. Now, you might have already booked your flight, but we're going to provide some information that just might help you on your trip. And we're going to take a look at the exact trip that we took. We're going to sort our results by time, and as you noticed, you can book flights on other airlines as well. But what we're looking for is a direct AirAsia flight to Singapore around noontime, and this is the flight that we selected. And when we show you the final price here, you'll notice that you're allowed one carry-on bag at 7 kilos. It's not really much, and sometimes they could be a little strict on the weight limits. And generally you'll have to pay more if you check your bags at the airport. But let's talk about some other baggage options you have. You can choose from bundles to a la carte options. We chose the value pack. Since we were traveling to multiple countries and had checked bags, this flight was charging about $30 for a 20-kilo checked bag. So for about $7 more, we got a free meal, seat selection, and a little insurance. So it seemed like our best option. Or you could always pick from the baggage a la carte menu. And here you can see the carry-on bag dimensions, as well as adding an extra carry-on or a checked bag. And in case you were planning on playing a little golf in Bali, you have the option of adding sports equipment as well. Next, you have an option of picking your seat for a price. As you see these seats in red, AirAsia likes to refer to them as hot seats. And on this A320, the seats aren't really any different than any other seat. Just prime real estate and maybe a little more leg room and a little bit more money. Next, we're going to take a look at pre-ordering food options. And remember, with our bundle, we have a free meal, seat selection, and some insurance. Now, these are just pre-ordered options. During your flight, you'll have other food and drink options for purchase, and we'll show you that later. And here on the bottom, you could decide whether you need insurance or not, and also request special assistance. And when continuing, they'll ask you if you want to purchase flight delay insurance. You can just continue ahead and pay. And in case you want to see the final price breakdown and all the fees associated, you can see them here. Now let's take a quick look at getting to the airport. Your main options will be bus, metro, taxi, or car service. Fortunately, the airport located here is not that far away from the city center. And just for a reference, here's where the Marina Bay Sands is located. And this is where we were staying, the Andes Hyatt, Singapore. This hotel was truly amazing. Impeccable service, a beautiful rooftop pool, and a pretty amazing view. So we took a Grab car service from this hotel to the airport, and as you can see, the prices were very reasonable. And remember, these prices are in Singapore dollars, and such an easy and convenient way to get to the airport. Next up, we're going to look at the check-in process. Checking in with AirAsia is usually pretty seamless, with little to no human contact, as AirAsia strongly recommends that you use their website or their app for the entire check-in process, which we did, although they do have a list of exemptions to avoid paying the dreaded check-in fee. And as I mentioned, we checked in through the app, and the process was pretty seamless. As you can see on our boarding pass, it reads, "You may proceed directly to the boarding gate," but we had to make one more stop first to check in our bags. And dropping off our bags was a pretty seamless process as well. We just proceeded to the self-baggage drop and followed the instructions. Scan the QR code, print the tag, and drop the bag. It was actually that easy. Plus, there was staff around to help if you needed. Now that we checked in and dropped off our bags, it was time to head to the lounge. Since we were in Terminal 4 and being a member of Priority Pass, we decided to check out the Blossom Lounge. But on our return trip to Singapore, we went to Singapore Airlines Silvercrest Business Lounge. We have reviews for both of these lounges coming out, if you're interested. Getting to this lounge was fairly easy after checking in and going through security and passport control and passing through duty-free land, of course. You'll see signs directing you towards the lounge on the second level. And as you're going up the escalator, you'll see signs for the lounge on your right. As we enter the lounge, you can see it's a decent-sized lounge, although we noticed that half of the lounge was roped off and closed, maybe because it was early in the day. It didn't matter, the lounge wasn't that crowded and there was plenty of space for everyone. Now, I wouldn't say there was a large selection of food options as we were here during breakfast time, but I think if you just wanted to grab a little bite to eat, something to drink, and relax before your flight, there were enough options here. Now taking a look at your drink selections, not a wide variety of choices, but I'd say enough options for our breakfast. Like I mentioned, they had a few different seating options, but we preferred this spot, where we enjoyed this amazing view. And while we still had some time before our flight, we thought we'd check out the airport, as Changi Airport in Singapore is consistently ranked among one of the best in the world, with its centerpiece, the Jewel, and the largest indoor waterfall in the world. Check out our video on best activities to keep you entertained at this airport, like catching a free movie, as we did, at least part of one, and taking full advantage of the giant slide, like Lily did. This airport is really amazing, but we'll be back in about a week so we can see more. But for now, we were running a little late, so we had to head to our gate and get ready to board our flight. What's nice about this airport is that they have walk times on most of the gate signs, which is very convenient. And AirAsia also informed us how early we should arrive at the gate. And when we arrived at the gate, we saw that our plane was already here, which is typically a good sign. So now let's look at the big board. It all looks good as our plane is on time and now boarding. So passengers started to gather around the gate. Now I think is a good time to take a look at AirAsia's boarding sequence for our flight. First off, you have pre-boarding, which is typical for most airlines. And next up, you have Zone 1, which is for Fast Pass, Premium Flex, and Hot Seat passengers. Next up was Zone 2, which was our zone for this flight, and pretty much covers the rear section of the plane. And the last section is Zone 3, and that pretty much covers the middle section of the plane. Now we're going to take a little look at us boarding our AirAsia A320-200 flight. And even though we ended up boarding at the end of the line, even after Zone 3, we figured there'd be less of a line when boarding. We were wrong, so it took us a few minutes to get to our seats. Now let's take a look at AirAsia's A320-200's seats. Here is the seat map. You'll notice that there's one bathroom in the front and two in the rear of the plane. And remember, we had regular seats included in our bundle, so we selected row 24, seats D and F, hoping that the middle seat would remain empty. It didn't, but the person sitting in between us asked us if we wanted to switch seats. We didn't, because the fact is, Lily is a window seat person. I am an aisle seat person. I believe that makes for harmonious travel. These seats weren't exactly the newest in their fleet, but they actually were pretty comfortable for a short-haul flight, which I enjoyed because I've been on my share of very uncomfortable economy seats. Here you can recognize the hot seats by the red headrest, obviously. And I really do like these really cool red seat belts. Nice touch, AirAsia. And I should mention that the staff and crew were very nice and helpful, from check-in and boarding, as well as throughout the entire flight. Now let's take a look at our seats in row 24, seats D and F. First, let's do the legroom test. And the good news is, our knees did not touch the seats in front of us, and I had just about enough room to fit my 25-liter bag under the seat. Looking at the rest of the features for the seat, you add the safety card, a pamphlet going through many of the religions practiced in this region, and of course the AirAsia in-flight shopping magazine, just in case you're in the mood for buying some of their products. You add the typical net seat back pocket to store some of your items, and in lieu of a TV, you have the AirAsia.com's logo engraved in the seat back in front of you. You have your overhead lights, and not typical for many Asian airlines, you have air vents above you, which is a nice added convenience. Now let's take a look at our seat back tray. It was a nice size with a cup holder. That's all I really needed for this flight. So I sat back, relaxed, and listened to our safety instructions. And as I looked up, I noticed AirAsia is subsidizing some of its costs by advertising on the plane. And since we don't have an IFE system on this flight, and we weren't allowed to put our tray tables down as of yet, I used this little YouTube hack to watch a little video during taxi and takeoff. Now let's take a look at the food and drinks on this flight. And since AirAsia is considered a low-cost airline, there will be no complimentary food or drinks on this flight, but you can pre-order a meal or part of a bundle as we did, or just order food on the flight through their menu. Now let's take a quick look through the menu. Sorry as some of the pages got a little cut off, but you get the idea. And about 45 minutes into our flight, I noticed the cart was coming around to sell food, drinks, and distribute our pre-ordered meals. First off, Lily ordered the plant-based meal. She actually said it was really good, and she finished the whole thing. And I ordered a meal with chicken, anchovies, rice, and a few other things. And actually it was pretty good. I ate most of it. I should mention that both our meals came with a complimentary water. The question is, does this meal really look the same as it did when I booked my flight? Let's take a look. Here's how the meal looked when I pre-ordered it, and here's how the meal looked on my flight. Let's ask the judges, and they say, it's a match. Nice going, AirAsia. Now let's take a quick look at the bathrooms. Being in row 24, we were closer to the bathrooms in the rear of the plane, so let's take a look at one of those. The bathroom was about average size for an economy bathroom, and all I'm really looking for in an economy bathroom on a flight is one that's functional, fully stocked, and fairly clean. And this one checked all the boxes. But now it was time to get back to my seat as I heard the announcement that we're preparing to land.
We will be landing shortly. Please return to your seat. Put your seat upright. Ensure your seatbelt is securely fastened. Secure your tray table to its original
And fortunately, we had a very smooth landing. Thank you, AirAsia. We didn't have a gate assigned to us when we landed, so we had to do the next best thing and take a bus to the terminal. The buses here were fairly comfortable and they weren't too crowded, as it was a pretty short ride, and I was able to enjoy the view of this very unique airport. Now after going through customs and visa check, you'll end up here where all the drivers seem to be waiting, and it can get pretty crowded when a lot of flights are coming in. So make sure you check out our essential tips when traveling to Bali. It should make your entire arrival process a whole lot smoother. And before we leave you, we're going to show you a few of our favorite sites to explore when traveling to Bali. And here's some final thoughts on our AirAsia A320-200 economy flight. I have to say, AirAsia is one of our favorite low-cost airlines. The service was really good, the seats are pretty comfortable, and as long as you're aware you're not getting any complimentary food or drinks, although you can order some, and you're aware of the baggage limits and costs, and the customer service can be a little hit or miss if you have to alter your booking. With all that being said, if you're looking for a low-cost airline to travel around Asia, we feel AirAsia is probably one of your best options for getting around. I hope this helps you the next time you travel on AirAsia. Safe travels. If you love to travel and want to stay in the loop with all the latest tips, reviews, and updates, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to like and share. We do appreciate the support.